Welcome everyone to our second session of the year for Startup Culture in the Classroom. My name is Caleb Talley. I'm with the Startup Junkie Foundation. For those of you who may not be familiar with us, we are a nonprofit organization based here in Fayetteville on the square, where it is getting dark and it feels weird this time of day. But we serve entrepreneurs and innovators through one-on-one consulting, events, workshops, events just like this, where we, connect individuals who are interested in entrepreneurship, provide education, resources, and all those sorts of things. I guess it would help if I would pull up the slides that I made for this. All right, there we go. I didn't make them for no reason, right? All right. I am joined today by our co-host for this event, Rita with Bessie Moore Center for Economic Education. I'll turn it over to her to share a little bit more about what she does.
So thank you, teachers, for being here with us. We're really happy to do this program and to work jointly with Startup Junkie and Economics Arkansas on this type of program. And our whole idea is to show you, to introduce you to young startup entrepreneurs, hopefully all across the state. We have a lot happening in Northwest Arkansas and some in Central Arkansas, but we want to see it everywhere. So wherever you're from, and please tell us in chat your district that you're from. I love cataloging that. Anyway, thank you for being here to learn about different entrepreneurs across the state.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Rita. And Marsha with Economics Arkansas will be here later. She had a meeting that ran before this, but she'll be providing some resources for all our educators after the fact. When she arrives, she'll drop that link in there for us. All right. Here's our agenda today. We're going to have videos, introductions of all of our participants today. We'll have a Q&A portion where you'll be able to ask your questions from each of these participants. And then, of course, we'll have a little trivia for prizes at the end. Our first will actually present a slideshow for us, Kelsey Howard with Cash. And I will just turn it over. I'm going to stop my screen share and then let you do that, Kelsey. So Kelsey is with Cash. The rest of our presenters will show a video, but Kelsey has to run here shortly. So we're going to let her go first and let her present Cash to everyone.
Yeah, it's so nice to be here with all of you. It's good to, let's see, I'm taking in the whole group now. This is the fun of gallery view, isn't it? So hopefully we can, and there's Lakeisha. Hey, how's it going? Hi. It's nice to see a friendly face. And there's a lot of you that I don't know. And so it's nice to meet you all. I'm Kelsey Howard, and I'm saying hello from Salem Springs. And I am with Cash, like Caleb said, the Creative Arkansas Community Hub and Exchange. Wow, that's a mouthful, everybody. Okay, so we just go by Cash. It's so much easier that way. CACHE. And I'm going to put in the chat our website so you can check it out. There we go, cashcreate.org. Now, here's the thing. I dropped that link in the chat, but I did make slides. So I'm hoping that you all will hang with me and look at the slides with me, because our website is very beautiful and I could see how it could be distracting. So trusting you all to stick with me. It's just 10 minutes, okay? All right, so yeah, it's Monday afternoon. Thanks for being in this discussion. I just really am excited to spend a few minutes to talk with y'all about Cash and who the heck we are. So I'm gonna put up those fancy slides I promised you. Here you go. And there we are. So here's the acronym written out for you so that you can remember. We are Cash. And who are we? We are brand spanking new here in Northwest Arkansas. We do work in certain initiatives for the whole state. More on that in a little bit, but we really do focus on Northwest Arkansas. And I saw in the chat, some of you, I saw somebody from Fort Smith, and there's definitely a lot of initiatives that include cities like Fort Smith that may not be right in the Benton, Washington County region that some folks would classify as Northwest Arkansas. So I thought that might be helpful for you all to know. And I want to just go through a little bit about who we are as an organization, and then I want to bring it back to you all as teachers and educators, specifically thinking about the creative economy. So the point of CASH is that we are all about creativity, empowering people. And so CASH works with creatives, communities, and organizations to empower a more inspiring, inclusive, and equitable Northwest Arkansas. The word empower is so important because this is not power that we have, that we are giving to other people. It's more about that recognition and celebration that we have creativity within us, and that is empowering, that we have that empowerment. So we are just excited to work with creatives, communities, and organizations to really tap into that creative power. And we hope that as a result, Northwest Arkansas will be more inspiring, more inclusive, and more equitable. So how do we do that? How do we fulfill that mission? Well, we are committed to make sure that we work with individual creatives or artists and nonprofits and some for-profits too that are in the arts and culture sector that really do recognize themselves on different sizes, different scopes of work and types. But we really do try to focus our energy on emerging, underrepresented, underinvested pockets of creativity. And that takes many different forms, because when we think about the health and the vibrancy of the creative economy, of our community, we think of it as an ecosystem, that there are lots of different layers that are required to be healthy for the whole to be healthy. So we aren't just thinking about artists. We are also thinking about nonprofits, for-profit business. We think about municipalities. We're thinking about policy and what infrastructure we need to have social cohesion. And we try to think about it very holistically. So our organization, we are a arts service organization, meaning that we really are in service to artists. We are in service to the arts community. And that may be a broader definition than you were used to hearing about when we talk about supporting the arts. So we've been busy, y'all. We've been very, very busy. So when I say that we think about, when we talk about the creative ecosystem from many different layers, it shows in the work that we've been doing, because we tackle it and work alongside people who've been doing this work for a long time. We do this from lots of different angles. So we've had 32 initiatives we've done, and I'm not going to go into all the programs that we do today, because I really do want to bring it back to you as teachers, educators, and thinking about the creative economy. But I just wanted to show you just a snapshot of all the things that we do. We have given out a lot of funds to individual creatives by commissions and gigs and lots of curation of projects and lots of really great exposure through projects and networking with lots of different nonprofit partners and organizations. We have been pretty busy consulting with city leadership to think about ways to make their cities really focused on arts and cultural development. We have been consulting on things like public art projects so that we have some visible, tangible signs of change in cities that are really supporting artists and making our places special. And also nonprofits. You can see 48 nonprofits impacted. We've provided programming for organizational development. Lakeisha is with Art Ventures, and she's one of the many leaders of nonprofits that we work very closely with that have been part of programs to help them understand, help them better be equipped to tackle finances to make their organizations more sustainable, or programs that look at lots of different ways that they need to kind of reassess their nonprofit 101 building blocks to be more sustainable. So, and in addition to that education and support for nonprofits, we've also given consultation hours to just help them say, hey, we know you know your organization the best, better than anybody else. So let us just help give you a bit more capacity, help us, let us help you with some expert consultants and national thought leaders to help you do the thing. And we've also given out a lot of grants, almost $900,000 in grant dollars out the door in the last year and a half to arts and culture nonprofits. So that's just like a snapshot of the kind of work that we do. I'm not going to go through all these, but this is what I mean when I say 32 initiatives, tons of stuff going on. So this is really just a teaser trailer, because I hope that you will sign up for our newsletter. Please send me an email if you would like to join our newsletter, and I'll put it in the chat. And we hope that you will check out our website and look at some of our, some of our resources of how to know what events we have going on and what programs we have available. So, teaser trailer. So, with the creative economy, and I realize that some of you aren't necessarily in Northwest Arkansas, but the creative economy is so much more than just artists. Like I was saying, it's about the ecosystem. But you all as educators have a really unique opportunity to think about ways that you can help equip students, help equip kids and young adults for the workforce, because so many jobs really do require a lot of creative skills, whether that is a very creative problem solving and with an entrepreneurial spirit. Startup Junkie, you guys are all about that. By doing creative program, by being part of creative programming in and outside of the classroom, it really does equip students to enter the workforce with a much more malleable and desirable set of skills to to enter lots of different fields. So it's not just the traditional idea of an artist with a paintbrush at a canvas. It is also the graphic designers, it's the tattoo artists, it's the people that are fabricating and welding, it's folks that are just in a boardroom or out in the community talking to folks about how they want their cities to change and how the arts can be a part of creating that change. So what I'm saying is that if you walk away from this presentation with anything, it's that Cash is really excited about helping the creative economy be healthier. And I hope that we can connect, that you can connect with Cash as educators, and we can help connect you with programs outside of the classroom that can help to equip and develop your students with ways to expand their own creativity, so their own creativity is empowering. And it's not just about being a traditional artist. Something that we are committed to is gathering data. Right now, there's a huge discrepancy in the amount of data that we have about the creative economy. And the creative economy is so much more than just how much money industries are making, how much money our for-profit businesses are making that happen to have graphic designers in them, for example. It is also making sure that we get data about who are those individual artists. So on the one hand, the creative economy, it's not just about being an individual artist, but we lack so much data about what creatives are out there. So something that Cash is committed to do is not just events and programs. Cash is also committed to working with partners to gather data about who is in our creative economy. So please stay tuned. We are working with Americans for the Arts, with the Arkansas Arts Council, and with Arkansans for the Arts to do a pretty big study that has never been done before in Arkansas, to give us a better idea of what are the jobs, what are the gaps, what are the opportunities, what are the income trends, so that we can fill those gaps and hopefully have some creative solutions for equipping our students to be better prepared for the workforce. So just to wrap up, something to keep in mind is that there is a lot of recruitment that's happening outside of the region. For example, we have a huge need for people who are skilled in event production. That's like setting up lights for concerts and shows, audiovisual. And that's just one of many, many, many examples of a job that's in the workforce where we are recruiting from outside the region. We need to focus on equipping our young people with the opportunities to develop skills in the creative workforce. So there's a ton of potential for creating that pipeline. And a lot of creative learning can be done with organizations that have been here doing the work for a really long time. And so just to, again, make this kind of a teaser that I hope we can connect a lot more in the future, there are so many local opportunities for students outside the classroom. And there are a lot of programs that can help students get real world experience, but there's not enough. So how can we try to make that a priority? We want to connect with you. We want to hear from you. So we are in the business of trying to gather data and connect folks who are doing incredible work. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a glimpse of how we could continue this conversation. And finally, please, if you haven't already, that link that I put in the chat, please go to our calendar, our community calendar, sign up for our newsletter, check out our arts resource desk, which has directories of artists and other creatives. But I really hope that you can see like events and programs on our calendar so that you can have a better idea of how to connect your students. So I'm going to put some of those links in the chat and open it up for questions just for a minute or two, and just know that I will follow up with you if we don't have time to answer questions.
Thanks for that, Kelsey. I will also, just as a note to everybody, I'll also include Kelsey's email and these links in the email that I send out with this recording too. And since Kelsey has to leave early, if you have a question for her, feel free to throw it out there now.
So I have a question. So where is the funding from? Where do you get the funding to support all of this data collection and the programs you're offering and so forth?
Is the question, where do we get our funding for our own operations?
Yes,
Is that
so
right?
that you can research and
Yes,
other organizations.
Thank you for asking. A lot of it is grant funding, but a lot of it too is collaborating with other organizations that have state funding. So for example, the Arkansas Arts Council, they contributed funding to help us with that Americans for the Arts study that's coming up this year. And by working with the Arkansans for the Arts, we're just saying, hey, y'all have been doing this work for a long time, but you've never had the resources to do a full study. Maybe if we pool our resources together, whether that's money or time and capacity or networks and connections, we can actually make this happen for the first time. So that's one example. We have, I wish that I'd kept the slide in the deck, because I have a slide that talks about all the different sources of our funding. We don't just have one funder, we have several sources of funding, and that's from foundation, like philanthropic foundations, state funding, and different like project specific grants. So like, for example, the Tyson Family Foundation, they are a huge partner with a space that's in downtown Springdale that is serving as a creative hub, where we are developing it and reimagining it for the community's use to advance their community, cultural, and artistic practices. So hope that helps.
Could you share a little bit from the website what you found as far as the average salary of people in Northwest Arkansas versus the average salary of the creatives in Arkansas?
Yeah, actually, and what I'll do is I will drop, there is a survey, we have some results of our survey that we did earlier this year that has quite a bit of data about salaries, especially for artists and individual creatives that are identifying themselves as individual artists. And I will pull that up now, but if you go to see that link that I dropped, that first link, the Arts Resource Desk, if you click on that and you scroll down, all the way to the bottom, you'll see an orange band that says cash in-house. And I'm going to click on that and share my screen. And I know that Caleb, I won't take up too much more time, but this is a really good question. I'm going to share my screen real quick so you can see. Dun, 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 dun. So this is the Arts Resource Desk, and it is such a cool resource for artists. We're developing it. It's not fully baked yet, but we're still a brand new organization. So there are tools for nonprofits and artists, as you can see here. And this section right here, it says Cash in-house, Cash Canvas. You can click on this and you can see, hopefully it'll come up. You can see sort of our findings from our survey of the first of its kind of Northwest Arkansas creatives. And once it loads, and you can take a look yourself, it does talk a lot about what we found in people's answers about income specifically. And so if it will ever come up, I will be able to answer your question with specificity. While it's coming up, are there any other questions?
Yes, there is one. Jenny from Fort Smith wants to know if you've done any work with Fort Smith.
Yeah, so Jenny, sorry, is it Jenny or Jennifer?
She goes by Jenny usually.
Jenny, okay, great. I know that Fort Smith is rich with public art, like lots of public art, certainly, and a thriving art scene. We, like I said at the top, we are sometimes restricted geographically by the grant project itself, like if the grant, for example, from the Tyson Family Foundation to create this hub in downtown Springdale, the grant parameters are within downtown Springdale, but we are very open to more projects that get us outside of that Benton, Washington County. And there's, so the answer to your question is, I can't think of any projects where we have worked directly with Fort Smith, but we have programs, for example, like Ground Waves, where we had a hip hop artist who's pretty legendary. His name is Murs. And we had musical artists coming from all over, from Tulsa, from Kansas City, and from the area to participate in an open mic program that was 6 months long and mentorship with Murs. So it's just one tiny example of ways that we really do welcome in artists and nonprofits from the region. Let me answer that question about income. Oh, it's loading so slowly. I might just need to send this out to all of you. There's a really great slide that has some exact numbers, and I don't want to give you the wrong numbers.
Well, it seems like it was less than, so the average was 50-something thousand.
It was, I was gonna say around 50. Yeah, my guess was gonna be 53. And so have you seen this, Rita?
Yes.
Oh, you set me up for the answer. You knew I knew the answer, and now I'm failing you.
Well, no, I don't remember numbers well, but I think the creatives.
Check it out, right there. Look at that.
It's less than 20,000.
73% of Northwest Arkansas's creative entrepreneurs and artists claim $0 to $20,000 estimated annual income. And now that is only their art form. We all know that a lot of artists are good at multiple gigs, but still it's important to see that 75% of creative entrepreneurs and artists attribute less than a fourth of their total income to contracts and grants that they're getting for their practice. And when you look at like the Fayetteville Springdale per capita income, 65,000, and across the nation, full-time working artists are getting 52. So we're behind. There's such unmet potential in Northwest Arkansas, which is why we are here, and we want to honor the work of so many organizations that have been doing this for a long time, and artists. Caleb, I do not want to overstay my welcome.
How new are you?
Oh, how new are we?
Yes.
When I said brand spanking new, I meant it. We only had a name last June of 2020.
But
So
one of your slides said you a little over $250,000 since January 1st.
What was that now?
I said one of your slides, I believe, said that you've given a little bit over $250,000 since January 1st.
And that's just to artists. That's just to artists. We've given $900,000 to nonprofits.
But when did you officially begin? Because it seems like you've really made quite some distance.
We're moving and shaking.
But I mean, It
2019.
opened January 1st or?
August of 2019 was when our
Okay, I believe you
executive
said
director
that.
was
and I just-
hired. I was the second full-time hire after our executive director, and I came on board April of 2020. So very new. And then
How many are on the
in
team?
2020. Oh, I'm sorry, what was that?
How many are on the team?
We have about 15 on the team.
Okay, so you're
Mhm.
rocking and rolling.
You said it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it
Oh,
sounds
I
very
like
exciting.
this bunch. This is great.
Well, Kelsey, I appreciate that. I know you have to run, but just for everyone else, if you had a question you didn't get an answer, we're going to connect you with Kelsey in the follow-up email that I send out tomorrow. So don't worry, you'll have your opportunity, I promise. And
Thanks
Kelsey,
so much, everybody. I'll stay just for a couple more minutes, but I just really appreciate the time and the enthusiasm. Let's definitely connect, please. I'll put my email in the chat one more time. Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate it, Rita.
absolutely. All right, next I'm going to go back to my screen share and we'll get going again here. All right, our next guest is Lakeisha Edwards. She is with Art Ventures. We're going to play. So the format for this generally is we go to the video of the organization or the startup, and then we give them a couple minutes to chat about what they do. And then at the end, we'll go into some Q&A. We did Q&A with Kelsey because she has to run, but we'll reserve Q&A for the rest of the group after we run through all of our introduction. All right, Lakeisha, I will turn it over to you if you would like to take a couple minutes to share with everyone what you do at Art Ventures.
Sure. So I do a little of everything because I'm director, and we do have a small but mighty team. So there is, I do have 2 full-time employees, and I have 1 remote part-time employee, and actually two full-time and 2 part-time remote. So as the video showed, which that video is a little over a year old, so that was before I got here. I'm really excited about creating my own video, and I've already started working on that, but all of the things that are listed are still true. I don't think that's the best picture of the house that the gallery is housed in, because it's actually an amazing space. So I don't know if anyone has had the opportunity to visit Art Ventures, but we are a nonprofit art gallery that is located at 20 South Hill inside of a beautifully restored historic mansion. So the house itself is art. Right? It is beautiful. Even in the bathrooms, we put art everywhere. We have art pieces above the clawfoot tubs. We have art in the hallways. We have it in the kitchen. Outside, we actually have a metal garden. So we have lots of different things that you can see when you come to the gallery. We also have galleries outside of our actual location at 20 South Hill. So we are at the Faulkner Center. We have other locations like Eclectic Kitchen, where we've had exhibitions. Right now we have a exhibition at the Public Library here in Fayetteville. So we are looking for other locations to actually host our exhibitions, because of course, with us having a reach throughout Northwest Arkansas, we want to continue to grow and kind of pick up the pace from the pandemic. I was hired in July of this year, but the organization itself began back in 2009 as Fayetteville Underground. So you may have heard of that particular part of the branding, but that was when they were on the square. So then they lost that building because the city sold it, and then they moved into the current location and then rebranded as Art Ventures. The board president is Sharon Killian. I'm sure many of you have heard that name. She is very well known in this community, and she's done a lot of work in the community in regards to the arts. The question there was in restaurants. So Eclectic Kitchen is a restaurant. We are more than happy to entertain additional restaurants and even other places that are publicly seen for individuals to have access to the arts. So our tagline is art for everyone. And that is exactly what we attempt to do, is to provide art and culture to everyone, to individuals that are coming out of homeless shelters all the way to collectors. So I've been working with a lot of different groups in the community to bring individuals into the space. We also have our First Thursday event, which is every first Thursday from 5 to 8, where we have live music, we have our opening receptions, our new exhibitions, and we really get a chance artists, which we have currently 46 artists throughout Northwest Arkansas. We also have some as far as Magnolia, Arkansas, and a few that are out of state, but most of our artists are right here locally in Northwest Arkansas. When we have exhibitions, our goal is, of course, to sell art because we want to support our artists and we want to raise that amount that they're earning from their work. And we try to keep our commissions low and their collection on their art high. We also put a lot of effort into putting them into spaces where we have, again, off-site exhibitions, or when we bring collectors in, or even when we do a lot of business around town where we're doing it with the local radio stations. We just had our Fall Frenzy the week of Halloween. So we were on the radio, we were on TV. We were really getting a lot of exposure. And of course, every single time we have an opportunity to speak, we drive people to the website. We ask them to look at our artists. We ask them to look at all the things that our artists are capable of doing. So we have artists that have all types of art. We've got artists that make jewelry, stain art. Yay, that's what I was just going to say, the stained glass. We've got Sherry, which is actually employee and a represented artist who makes stained art earrings, and also custom lamps. We have artists that do commissions where someone may come in and say they want a particular color scheme or they're looking for portraits. We have those that make sculptures, both metal, wood, and other materials. And then here recently, we have really been doing a little bit more with ceramics. So this year, our K through 12 program, also another side of Art Ventures, was focused on ceramics. We worked with the Don Tyson School of Innovation to present our K through 12 program, which we've done for 3 years straight. This year, they focused on change and adaptability. That was the name or the theme of their particular exhibition. And it really got the kids involved with showing what they were feeling about certain things that are happening in the world and how those things change the way they look at things and the way that they view themselves in the world. We had some really interesting artist statements. So we did also encourage each of the children to, or I guess I shouldn't call them children, because the high school kids do not like being called children, but the kids that were participating in the boys and girls that participated in the program, they really put a lot of effort into why they created their pieces. And then we had an opening reception just for them and their families and the school to come in and really allow them to kind of do a popcorn type of feedback where one person would say, this is what I like about this other person's art. And then they say, okay, well, the reason I did this is because of that. And then they choose someone else to say, this is what I like about yours. And then they talk about their art. And we were there for maybe a little over 2 hours, and it was so impactful. Many of the participants were really engaged and really proud to have their art displayed in an art gallery. I know nothing I ever did in high school actually like in general has ever ended in a gallery. So we were really happy to give those participants that opportunity and give their parents even those bragging rights. We're looking for additional schools for the spring and also the fall of next school year. We do supply all of the supplies for the program. We also supply support from our artists. So we choose artists and we choose other individuals in the community that may connect with that school. I know with Don Tyson School of Innovation, I actually went to speak with the classes, and many of the students were in different classes. So that's why that reception is so important. We did get lots of donations for the reception, so we were able to cover the food and drinks and things of that sort. The only thing we asked of the school is transportation. And of course, during, I believe it's Giving, NWA Giving, in the spring, we'll be engaged with that. And that's really what we're going to push for, is that K through 12 initiative, where we really want to see some additional funding so that we can do more than one school per semester. So we do the representation, we do exhibitions on and off campus, we do our K through 12 program, and then we also support local businesses. So at our first Thursday event, this previous one, we had Cocoa, which I don't know if you've ever had Conscious Cocoa, but it was absolutely amazing. It's vegan food, and it was a particular business owner who lost her business during COVID. Someone directed her to me, knowing that we do those types of things to support our local businesses in the community. And she stated that she still had a pretty strong following, but just didn't have anywhere to really show up. So we created an atmosphere for her to have a pop-up shop for our first Thursday event. So we do provide free food and free wine to all of our first Thursday event participants, but we also have a pop-up shop where in our mud room, we allow a local business to sell their goods. So, and especially with the vegan food, it was such a contrast. You know, you have the vegan food, and then of course I'm going to do sliders and all of the things that are not vegan, because I am not vegan. But we really had a good time with giving people lots of different options. And we also had live music. So we also help other local artists that have musical talents and even poetry to come into our space and share their talents. We do also have a coffee truck that comes once a week. Right now, he's only every Wednesday, but we are creating a space in our mud where we have our pop-up shop, where we'll have the coffee shop in the gallery. Yet another small business that struggled during the pandemic, but we're assisting with them building up their clientele. So Art Teachers is so much more than just a gallery. We're a community resource. We share our space, we share our time, and we also share our talents with the community so that we can push forward art and culture. We want to make sure that everyone has access to it. That's why our program is always free. Anytime that we have a paid event, of course, it is advertised as such, but most of our workshops, any of our exhibitions, all of our open house receptions are all free of charge, including our K through 12 initiative programs. I think that's about it.
That was perfect, Lakeisha. I appreciate that. You're breaking up on me just a little bit there. We will go on to the next one, and then we'll do Q&A at the end, after our next two presenters. So if you think you'll forget your question, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I'll make sure they get asked. All right, let's get our next slide. And our next entrepreneur. Now we're going to our two artists. So we just introduced you to two organizations that serve artists in the arts economy here in Northwest Arkansas. Now we want to introduce you to a couple of artists in our area who have turned their passion for a particular art into a business. First being Rachel McClintock, and our own Rita is the videographer behind this video. She came in and shot this, and so we're going to share this video with you now.
I am in downtown Springdale at a woodworking shop owned by Rachel McClintock. We're going to go in and take a look at the shop and learn a little bit about Rachel's passion and what Rachel does. So I wanted you to see some of the beautiful pieces, but we'll look more in depth with And this would be Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
Hi.
And she will be online so you can ask questions. So this is a beautiful cutting board.
So this is an in-grain cutting board, and typically you'll see two different variations of cutting boards. And, okay. Given the lighting.
Sorry, yes,
Yeah,
we're
we
just
get the
shifting
lighting.
for light. Yes, now we can see it better.
Cutting boards can run with either face grain, edge grain, or end grain. And if you look at this piece as a piece of dimensional lumber, you'll see this is the board. You have the face grain, the edge grain, and the end grain. On the face grain and the edge grain, the wood fibers are running in this direction. You can think of them as a bundle of straw. When you slice that, you're parting those fibers and they can never go back together. It's forever scarred, but if you turn the wood on end and you have the end grain straw running this direction, your knife is parting between those fibers and it wants to heal itself, especially if you keep it charged with mineral oil at least once a week. It's food grade mineral oil, you just douse it, let it soak in. It keeps the equilibrium in the board to the moisture content in the air. So humidity, moisture content needs to be the same. Now, when you make an in-grain cutting board, you have to pursue it the same that you would with furniture. And with furniture, especially if you're using different species of wood, you have to consider wood movement. So with the same species even, you cannot have opposing wood movement. If this board is traveling in this direction and you put another board perpendicular to it, well then this wood is expanding this way, this is expanding this way, it will eventually tear at that joint. We have mechanisms to prevent that with furniture, but with cutting boards this way, you still have to figure out the orientation to keep the shrinkage rates the same. Black walnut and sycamore have different shrinkage rates depending on the orientation. So this piece of wood here is one little piece. This movement is tangential, this is radial. To best make these species move together at the same shrinkage, I have to orient it to where it's catching at a radial angle, this radial movement, slightly tangential in this, and radial to radial. Then they will move at the same rate, these two species together. You can't just mix anything. It has to be balanced, otherwise it'll tear. It could crack over 10 years, but it will eventually split. You don't want that, you want it to be heirloom quality.
How beautiful. So the wood color, the dark wood's not showing up very much. Maybe it'll be better. Can you tell us a little bit about the sycamore that you used?
Yes, this sycamore is from North Carolina. I brought some of that tree with me. This is spalt, and this is ambrosia. The ambrosia is introduced from the ambrosia beetle. They lay their larvae in there. They introduce the ambrosia fungus. It's very, very distinctive. Here's some ambrosia. When you look at it in the long grain, you can see the ambrosia streak here. Well, when you slice through it, this is what the ambrosia looks like. These are also fungal territories. The black lines are the demarcation of the territory, but you see a little one in here, more like an island within that territory, has a black line around it. It could be the same species, but they still demarcate their own lines. They just stake their claims. It's very cute.
Wow, so this is impressive how Rachel takes the wood and figures out how to create the designs by putting the pieces together that will work together. But to me, it was really interesting to learn about the tree and the health of the tree and what had happened to it and how that affects the product that you buy. So Rachel's going to be around to answer questions. So please save your questions to ask her, but for the real experience, I would come to Springdale and meet Rachel and consider buying one of the cutting boards. I will say that I did that and I'm really excited about it. So Rachel, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to questions.
All right, thank you for that, Rachel, and videographer Rita. Appreciate that video. Rachel, if you want to take a minute to introduce yourself to those of us who are here on the call.
Hi, yeah, I'm Rachel, and I'm just a formally trained woodworker. I'm from Arkansas originally, but I was trained in North Carolina. I'm at home right now, so my dog is trying to get in my lap. But no, I was gone for about a decade, and then my spouse got a job opportunity in the region and moved back a little early. I'm really pleased that we did. It worked out for the best. Have an amazing clientele here, and we really couldn't have asked for a better location. Generally, Springdale is just a wonderful community. I'm proud to be a part of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll defer questions to after our final presentation slide. Let me get that teed up now. And our final presenter is Zach Held. He's with Intercut Productions. They are a production studio in Northwest Arkansas. And I'm actually going to show you a couple of videos that they did. Funny enough, Zach, they make incredible videos for people, but they didn't have a video for themselves, which is now in the pipeline, I'm sure. So I'm going to show you a couple of their videos real quick. All right, that is one. I'll get another one here that I'll show you, and then I'll introduce you to Zach.
You shine your light up to the sky in search of wonders that you might find. Bright eyes to hypnotize. You see it and you want it and you got to go. Don't let anyone stand in your way. Keep your eyes on the prize and you'll make it someday. You can take them on no matter the size. So take a leap and fly. Hey, you can be anything. Just follow your heart, reach up to the stars. Hey, you.
What does that say?
Surprise, you're invited to be a real gymnast for the day. Yes, cool.
You'll find it on the inside.
Hi, guys. So nice to meet you. What are your names?
I'm Jada and she's Catherine.
Oh, do you like gymnastics?
Yes.
Do you want to learn a little bit today?
Yes, yes.
High fives. Let's do it.
Don't let anyone stand in your way. Keep your eyes on the prize and you'll make it someday. You can take them on no matter the size. So take a leap and fly. Hey, you.
The way that you two believe in each other, and when we were on the beam, you were holding hands and you trusted each other. You have to have that same trust in yourself to do all the amazing things that you want to do, because you can be anything. How cool is that?
Thank you, guys.
Oh, hey, you can be anything. Just follow your heart, reach up to the stars. Hey, you, hey.
All right. right. So I get to see a sample of his work at Intercut Productions. So I will turn it over to Zach to share a little bit about himself and Intercut Productions.
Thanks, Caleb. Yeah. So, Caleb reached out to me this week and was like, "Hey, we need a video talking about what Intercut does." And I went over to my team and I was like, "We don't happen to have like anything about us, do we?" And everyone looked at me with this blank stare of like, "No, that definitely doesn't exist." So it's now going to be something we put some effort into, though. And we should totally have that for times like this. So, yeah, my name is Zach Heald, and I started Intercut Productions as a junior in high school. And I don't know what happened, but I guess 10 years later we're here, and it's been a really crazy ride since then. Never in a million years was it my intention really to start a business. At least it wasn't like a conscious decision that I made of like, oh, we're going to start a business. It really just kind of happened very organically for me, from doing work. When I started in high school, it was, starting in weddings and starting in church videos or whatever, literally anything people would let me come and film for them. And that just grew and grew until I had commercial clients and we were able to kind of leave weddings behind. And today I have a team of 5 full-time people, or full-time employees, and we spend basically every single day producing content for brands of all sizes, both in Arkansas and then really all over the country and all over the world. So it's a interesting industry for sure. And I think, I don't know, I'm happy to take any questions anyone has.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you for that, Zach. I appreciate that. And now so that was the last video we had. So we'll just open it up generally for questions for Zach, for Rachel, for Lakeisha, and whatever questions you have. I see that we do have a couple already for Zach in the comments here. One was, where is Intercut located? And John asked, where'd you go to high school?
Yeah, so Intercut is, we've bounced around a bit. Currently, I guess I say currently, what looks to be our forever home now is in Hiwassee, Arkansas. We're about 10 or 15 minutes just west of downtown Bentonville. We built a studio out there. I have another business called Farm Studios, which has a couple of partners in it. And we built Farm Studios out in Hiwassee, which is it's the Arkansas's largest like rentable soundstage. So it's basically a giant open soundstage facility that gets rented out by a variety of different things. There was a spa shooting lip injection videos in there today. And last week they were shooting $8,000 bicycles and product shots on bicycles. So it really changes by the week and what we're doing in there. But our office, my team works, we have a office area upstairs. And so we work upstairs, and then we're available to, we can obviously work in the studio when needed, when we have projects that require the studio space, but then we're also just there to kind of assist with rentals and people that are using the space when they need technical assistance or just, help figuring something out. So that's where we're located, is in Hiwassee. And I went to high school in Gravette, which is the school district that is in Hiwassee, or that encompasses Hiwassee. And so I graduated from Gravette High School. And that was a big part of why we built in Hiwassee, was we wanted to be able to come back and put tax dollars and all back into that community. I figured downtown Bentonville probably didn't need us, but Gravette we could certainly make a difference in. So and we wanted to be outside of town a little bit, have some room. We've got 5 acres there and about 17,000 total square feet. So we wanted to build a pretty large facility that would kind of grow as Arkansas grew. And so that part of town gave us that capability.
There's some more questions in here for Zach. What editing tools, softwares, or apps do you recommend for high schoolers to use? We have that question kind of duplicated there. Yeah.
Yeah. Software. Sorry, my phone's going off. Software technology wise, I think, the industry standard right now, I would say, is Adobe Premiere. That's what most studios, most production companies are going to want people to know coming out of school. For us, like, we honestly wouldn't even look at probably hiring even into like an entry-level position. Like, we really need some level of Adobe Premiere, even if it's self-taught. I'm self-taught, half my team. doesn't have a college degree, and we're all very much self-taught. And so, you know, by no means do I require you to have like some certification in Premiere, but a good understanding of Premiere, I think, is important. That being said, a Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve is the other option. Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve is the other software option. That is a free option, which in my opinion is just as powerful, if not more powerful in some areas than Adobe Premiere. About half my team is kind of split. Some use Adobe as their full-time editor. Some use Resolve as their full-time editor. Obviously, everyone can go back and forth when needed. But I will say the color correction capabilities in Adobe Resolve far surpass anything you can get out of Premiere. And like I said, it's free. So like, why not?
So I have a question for Rachel. What do you sell the most of, and how long would I have to wait in order to get it?
The most in quantity would be the small scale items. And in fact, from your video just a few days ago, I was surprised at how much product was still on the shelves. But yeah, monetarily, it would be, you know, full home build outs where I'm doing quite a bit of customer unique millwork, not in the traditional trim carpentry sense, but in maybe more sculptural aspects as well as their furniture thereafter. And right now my wait list for something of that size is at least 11 months before I could begin it. You know, there's a few people ahead of that line, so that's where I'm at. It's good.
So I will say, when I was in there doing my video, and Zach, don't not laugh at my video. I'm sure you're not going to be hiring me anytime soon. A customer came in to talk to Rachel, and he wanted to know when she could start on his table. And she very politely said in 11 months. So, and I said, do you have any pictures of your work to show people? She says, no, I don't need them. So,
and Jennifer in the comments or the chat asked, where does most of your lumber come from for your pieces?
Just to address that with Rita, I don't need them because I have a showroom. I didn't want to sound too arrogant with that anecdote. But my lumber comes from, well, I'm a distributor for my dimensional lumber with AWP in Little Rock. And I can get as much board footage as I care to get with them, and pretty much any species that I would like to order, as well as the quality. You know, it's really important to get certain qualities for the furniture. With some of the smaller items, I would say 4 foot and smaller items, I can find a lot of lumber. And, you know, the side of the road is a good spot, construction sites after hours. You know, anywhere that's cutting down a tree and they don't plan to do anything with it, I will go just make myself a stopgap between that tree and where it should be, which is rotten and feeding things, the earth, animals, bugs, whatnot. And then if I'm getting something with a wane edge or a live edge slab type, I will use my sawyer who's in the West Fork. It's Penny Hardwoods. He's excellent. His name is JD. I highly recommend him if you need any trees that you're felling or you have deadfall and you need a sawyer. He's your guy. He also has a lot on site at his yard available for purchase. He's very knowledgeable and he knows exactly the cuts that you're looking for stability and you know, where to cut for the tensions in the tree. But there's another question for Zach, I thought.
Yeah, Mildred asked Zach, for those interested in learning Adobe Premiere or Blackmagic, are there free online training options that you might recommend?
Yeah, so I think there's certainly some options. I would say your one of the best options is YouTube. I get on to everyone on my team all the time when they ask me a question without having first gone to YouTube, because I'm like, you know, if I don't know it, that's where I'm going first. So, I mean, YouTube is a wealth of information. There's a particular channel that I think could be really helpful. And that one is called Film Riot. And if you're a teacher that has been at any of my other presentations, I preach these guys all the time. It's called Film Riot, and they are absolutely phenomenal. They're based out of Dallas. They've moved around a few times, but they're now in Dallas full time. And they produce some really incredible content for just helping people get into it. Sometimes it might be more production focused. Sometimes it's more editing focused. Sometimes it's more sound design. They make a lot of short films on the channel, and they'll actually break down every step of pre-production, what they're doing, some of the legal processes that they're going through. They were a huge help when I was getting started, and they're still pumping out new content all the time. So it's mostly like two brothers and their staff that they've grown to now as they've continued, but they can be a really great resource.
And before I get to the other question, I wanted to point out that Marshall with Economics Arkansas has dropped a link for some professional development and resources for our educators on. I will also send that out in a follow-up email tomorrow, just as a heads up. And Rita asked, Zach, what are some of the companies we would know that you've created videos for?
Yeah, so companies obviously in Arkansas that people might know, we do a lot of the video work for the Walton Family Foundation, Oz Trails, Oz Art, Fly Oz. We do a lot of aviation content around that. If you're in Little Rock or Central Arkansas, you might be familiar with Guess & Company in Des Arc, Arkansas, and the big Christmas warehouse out there. We do all of his content and his new live production show that he's doing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then obviously Barbie, Mattel. We do a lot of work for Tyson. I travel the country, honestly, most years. I feel like I get most of the Midwest in for Tyson just about annually. We spend a lot of time on the road for them. Yeah, it really, Pepsi tomorrow morning, we're shooting for Bank of America. So it really is, it's really truly all over, some much more focused towards Arkansas or Arkansas businesses. And I do a lot of tourism. If you watch anything online and you get served, or on television, you get served those Visit Arkansas commercials. A lot of that drone work or a lot of the aerial work and stuff comes out of Intercut. Not always all of the stuff, but anything, a lot of the drone work and aerial work certainly usually is our stuff.
I've got a question for Lakeisha. If an educator wants to connect with you, for those student programs you mentioned, what would be the best way to go about that? And also, second question, what do you look for in potential, unassuming galleries? Like, say, can Startup Junkie be one of those locations?
Yes, we are always looking for locations, and anywhere that has foot traffic, we are looking to be there because we want to make sure that we give our artists the absolute maximum amount of exposure. So, and also just exposing people to the art, right? Because there may be people who are entrepreneurs, they may or may not even want to invest in the art itself, but we do believe that being surrounded by art and being in the presence of art and culture, it's just that creativity is what would assist. And especially with the kids, we want to make sure that they are doing much more than just mindless technology, and that they are actually doing hands, and they're being focused on critical thinking skills, creating things. So if someone wanted to get involved with that K-12 program, the best option would probably be to call or email me. My email is execdirector@artrepreneurship.org. I can put that in the chat. And also phone number. We are also on Facebook and Instagram under Art Ventures. And of course on Facebook, I'm not on Instagram, but on Facebook, my full name is there and all of my contact information. So feel free to stop me. But we are definitely looking for more partners in the community in a variety of ways, right? So we want
schools that are willing to host the program. When we're looking at a school to host, we're really looking to make sure that we've got that buy-in internally, that the principal is happy, the school leader is happy with it, that the teacher is fully engaged. Because if we're offering our time and energy of our artists, if we're offering the supplies, we want to make sure that it's going to be a program that's really well entertained within the school.
Awesome. And I'll include that information, your email and all that in that follow-up email as well. So that way they won't have to go hunting for it. All right. Do we have any more questions for our guests this evening? If not, and just as a reminder, I will include them in their contacts in that email, their website links and all that, so that you can reach out if you do have questions or you want to connect with them on any various things. So I will let them go. Thank you so much, Lakeisha, Zach, Rachel, Kelsey, who's already gone now, but thank y'all so much. Really appreciate y'all for being here this evening and taking the time to visit with our educators from across the state. I'll let y'all go. I can't speak tonight. But for our teachers who want to remain and participate in some trivia based on the information that you learned today, you're more than welcome to hang around and do some trivia for gift cards. So thank you again, and we'll tee up some trivia.
And Caleb, let's hurry up and get something on those walls.
Absolutely. I'm going to email you tomorrow, actually. I wrote it on my tomorrow to-do list. Thanks.
Oh, and aren't you guys up there with the chamber on the square?
We're in the Prior Center, so we're above Tula. That road.
Okay.
In the Prior Center, yeah. And we've got. I'm looking at big blank wooden walls right now.
Oh, no. We got to fix that because we've got that we're switching out at the first of the month too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I will absolutely connect with you on that. All right, let's get some trivia going. All right, let's see here. So I'm going to share my screen so that everybody knows how to participate. And some of you have done this before, so you know. So pull out your phone, go to kahoot.it, and you will see this screen. On your very next screen, you will see, let's see, I'm going to tee us up. Load our pin. It's easier to do it on your phone because your phone becomes almost like a game piece. The potential answers will be associated with the question on the screen. And so you would put in that game piece, 620-7139. There's me, he's here. Jenny Craig's here. Got J Boo and PB. All right, I'll give everybody plenty of time to participate. As Sonia, MMS. All right, if you plan on participating, have not yet put in your nickname, let me know because I'm going to get going here in just a second. All right, we got the winner in. All right, going once, going twice. We are starting right now. Kahoot at work. You are at home, but I'm at work. Startup culture in the classroom trivia starting 3, 2, 1, go. Quiz. Which entrepreneur must understand how the tree grows in order to create products for our home? Was it Zach, Rachel, Don, Lakeisha? Who had to learn about wood? Rachel, that is correct. Unanimous. Good job, y'all. Who is in the lead? MMS. Next question. Where could you go for no-cost entrepreneurial consulting? Is it the Walton Family Foundation, the Walmart Foundation, Startup Junkie Foundation, or the John Deere Foundation? I just like the green. Which one is it? Startup Junkie Foundation. I told you that at the very beginning. Jabu climbed to the top. Where is Intercut Productions studio headquartered? Is it Bentonville, Fayetteville, Rogers, or Hiwassee? Close to one place, but it's actually in the other. It's gonna be Hiwassee is the correct answer. They are out there in the sticks. All right, the winner made it to the board. Good job, winner. Jabu maintains the lead, but Jenny Craig is on fire. True or false? Cash is a local arts service organization that puts all its energy into supporting individual artists. A tough one. Is it true or is it false? False. They support the arts economy as well, and there are a bunch of various parts that go into all of that. PB rose to the top on fire. Which organization features an all-volunteer board? Was it Cash, Art Ventures, Intercut Productions, or R. McClintock? It's Art Ventures. Jenny Craig, rise to the top. Good job. True or false? Cash is actively seeking new data to help us better understand the jobs, income trends, gaps, and opportunities in the art economy. Is that true or is that false? Who remembers? True. They are searching for data all the time, she said. Our top five remain the same. Next question. Which entrepreneur benefits from the damage done by insects that eat on the trees? Is it R. McClintock, Zach Held, Lisa Taylor, or John Ruskey? Who is it? Who is it? Good job. R. McClintock. Fine woodworking. All right. Me's on fire. True or false? The creative economy consists of for-profit businesses and not individual creatives. Is it true or is it false? The creative economy consists of for-profit businesses, not individual creatives. False. Individual creatives are a big part of the creative economy. All right. Next question. Which organization is a nonprofit, charitable, and educational organization dedicated to providing access to art for all? Art Ventures, is it Cash, is it Startup Junkie, or is it JB Hunt? Art for all. This particular person said they literally had art for all available. Correct answer. They have art for all, every kind of thing you can think of. And that house, she mentioned that house's art. I would live in that house without question. It is an amazing house. Even has a tree house in the backyard. Which business or / organization is located in downtown Springdale? Rita knows exactly where it's at. Correct. R. McClintock, the woodworking shop. Top 5 remain the same. True or false? Intercut Productions farm studio is the largest soundstage in Arkansas. Is that true or is that false? And as a matter of fact, that is actually a picture of one corner of their soundstage in real life. Inside their big red barn. True. And if you're ever in Hiawassee, I would encourage you just to swing on by it, check it out. Oh, the winner is not winning, but Jenny Craig and PB are top 2. Which president made Thanksgiving a permanent national holiday? We're dropping some Thanksgiving. It's November. We're going to mix it up a little bit. Was it John F. Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, Millard Fillmore, or Jimmy Carter? That way, if you weren't paying attention at all to the presentations, but you know a little bit about Thanksgiving, you might get some points here. Abraham Lincoln is the correct answer. Me is beating the winner. This day is celebrated on the day after Thanksgiving. Is it Boxing Day, Native American Heritage Day, Small Business Day, or Fast Food Day? The day immediately after. Here's the holiday with Black Friday. Native American Heritage Day. Small Business Saturday is 2 days after that. And Boxing Day is a Canadian holiday. Next question. About how many pumpkin pies are consumed every Thanksgiving? Is it 10 million, 50 million, 2 billion, or 6 billion? How many pumpkin pies have to die for us to have a great Thanksgiving? It's 50 billion. Nobody got it right. 50 billion pumpkin pies are consumed every Thanksgiving on average. Our top 5 remain the same. All right, last question. What meat is the most popular alternative to turkey on Thanksgiving? Is it fish? Is it duck? Is it ham? Or is it rabbit? Which one? If turkey's not on the table, what is? I don't know about y'all, but now I'm kind of hungry. Ham is the correct answer. Let's see who our winners are. Third place, the winner. I guess that's slightly winning. Me, second place. First place, drum roll. And Craig, first place winner. And as we have in the past, we'll distribute gift cards to the winners. Please, when I guess you can email me on, respond to the email that I sent you earlier today with the Zoom link to make sure that I know. Jenny, I know who you are, but me and winner, I don't know based on those names who you are. So that is me. Go ahead and get this off. Where's my stop share? Awesome. Well, now I'm just hearing this music exit out. All right. Thank you all so much for participating in this, signing up, joining us. It's always fun. We always enjoy seeing you, and we always enjoy your participation. We will most definitely shoot you some emails afterwards. Tomorrow probably be when I can pull these together. I'll upload this video link to YouTube, distribute that. I'll also include the links to Cash, Art Ventures, the YouTube channel that Zach mentioned, any other contacts associated with our presenters. If there's some additional information or you have questions you would like for them to answer in the meantime, feel free to email those to me, and I will I'll try to get those for you as well. And you're more than welcome to ask them via email. So that's all for me. Rita, do you have any final words? You're muted.
Thank you all for participating. Good questions, a lot of interaction. Hope there are some great things you can share with your students. And follow up with the artist or anyone who can help you going forward. So thanks, guys.
See y'all.